They say treasure hides in plain sight, and sometimes it really does. The 1949D Jefferson Nickel is one of those coins that most people have seen 100 times, but never realized what it could be worth. It's a coin from the post-war years. Simple in design, but in the right condition, this little 5-cent piece can bring over $120,000 at auction. That's right, a nickel worth more than a luxury car, more than some homes, and all because of rarity, strike quality, and collector demand. Let's rewind to 1949. America was booming. After World War II, people were buying cars, houses, and building the life they'd dreamed of during the war years. But inside the Denver Mint, something interesting was happening. The Mint was striking millions of Jefferson nickels, over 36 million of them. But the dies were getting worn out. The result? Weakly struck coins, poor details on Jefferson's portrait, and most importantly, incomplete steps on Monticello, the one feature collectors crave the most. Because of that, finding a full steps 1949D Jefferson nickel is like trying to find a diamond in a gravel pit, and that's what makes this coin so valuable. Most 1949D nickels are worth just a few cents, 0.10, maybe 0.25 in circulated condition. But when you find one that's uncirculated, sharp and full of original mint luster, the value jumps. A Mint State 65 coin might fetch $100 to $200. An MS-66 full steps coin? Now we're talking about $5,000 to $10,000, but the true gems, the top-graded MS-67, full steps examples, have shattered expectations. One sold for a staggering $126,500, and that wasn't even the finest known. Experts believe if a flawless MS-68 FS ever appears, it could push past $150,000 in today's market. Imagine that. A single nickel turning into a life-changing payday. Now, what makes the full steps designation so important? On the reverse side of every Jefferson nickel is Monticello, Thomas Jefferson's home. Below the building are steps, 6 of them. The grading services, PCGS and NGC, award the full steps label only if all the steps are visible and unbroken. That level of perfection rarely survived minting and handling in the 1940s. The 1949D is especially tough because Denver's coin presses were working overtime. The dies wore down fast, leaving flattened steps and mushy details. That's why, today, only a handful of coins qualify as full steps. And those few are worth a small fortune. Collectors also prize the 1949D for its beautiful metallic tone. When properly preserved, this nickel can develop soft pastel hues, gold, rose, and blue toning that looks absolutely stunning under light. Add to that a flawless strike, and you've got one of the most eye-catching nickels in the entire Jefferson series. But not all valuable 1949D nickels are perfect. There are fascinating varieties and mint errors that add to the mystery. Look out for repunched mint marks, RPMs, where the D was punched more than once, creating a shadow effect. Some of these are clearly visible even without a microscope. A strong RPM in mint state can sell for $1,500 to $3,500. Depending on grade, there are also die cracks and die chips, tiny, raised lines or blobs of metal that occur when the die starts to fail. While not as valuable as full steps coins, they're still collectible, especially if the cracks run across Jefferson's cheek or through the lettering. Now let's talk about the market reality. The reason these coins fetch such high prices is supply and demand. Every year, collectors compete for the top-graded Jeffersons, and the supply of high-end 1949D nickels is shrinking. Coins get damaged, mishandled, or cleaned, and once that original mint luster is gone, the value drops like a rock. Cleaned coins are worth maybe $5 to $10, even if they look shiny. So never polish your nickels. Let them stay natural. If you're wondering where to find one, here's the exciting part. People have discovered valuable 1949D nickels in the most ordinary places. Old jars, coin rolls, and forgotten bank boxes. Some have pulled stunning uncirculated examples right out of bank-wrapped rolls that sat untouched for decades. Others found them tucked inside their grandparents' collections or changed drawers. If you want to go treasure hunting yourself, visit flea markets, estate sales, and small-town antique shops. You'd be surprised how many sellers have old, Jefferson Nickels priced at just a few bucks, not realizing one of them could be worth tens of thousands. When you find a coin that looks promising, sharp strike, strong luster, no visible wear, your next step is professional grading. Send it to PCGS or NGC for authentication. Once your coin comes back in a high mint state with full steps, its value skyrockets instantly. And if you ever decide to sell, go through major auction houses like Heritage Auctions, Great Collections, or Stack's Bowers. These platforms are where serious collectors compete, and that's where record-breaking sales happen. Now imagine this. You're holding a small silver-grey nickel, one that's been in circulation for over 70 years. It doesn't look fancy, but under magnification you spot those 6 perfect steps, gleaming under the light. You send it in for grading, and weeks later, it comes back as a top pop MS67 full steps. Suddenly, that 5-cent coin becomes a $125,000 treasure. That's the magic of coin, collecting, turning ordinary change into extraordinary stories. So next time you're sorting through nickels, pay attention to the date, 1949, in the little D mint mark on the right side of Monticello. Don't rush. Take your time, because if you're lucky, one coin from Denver might change your life forever. And remember, the treasures of history aren't always buried deep underground. Sometimes, they're hiding right there in your pocket. When you think of rare nickels, your mind probably jumps straight to the 1938D, or the wartime silver nickels. But the 1953D, Jefferson Nickel quietly hides one of the most surprising values in the entire series. A coin that many people overlook. Yet a few of these small Denver minted nickels have shocked collectors with prices reaching well into 6 figures. In 1953, the United States was in a period of calm prosperity. World War II was behind us. The Jefferson Nickel design had been in circulation for 15 years, and most Americans paid little attention to the coins in their pockets. But at the Denver Mint, something interesting was happening. The dies used that year were heavily worn, and the quality of strike varied drastically. This means that finding a sharply struck 1953 D-nickel, with all the tiny details of Monticello and Jefferson's portrait crisp and clear, is incredibly difficult. And that scarcity is where the money hides. The Denver Mint produced around 59,878,600 nickels that year, so it sounds like a common coin. And yes, most of them are worth only a few cents above face value today. Maybe worth 25 to 1 if worn, but the few that escaped wear and were perfectly struck can be worth a fortune. Let's talk numbers. A beautiful uncirculated 1953D. Jefferson Nickel without any special designation can sell for 59 to 40, but when it carries that magical full steps label, meaning every step of Monticello on the reverse is fully visible and separated, collectors go crazy. A single MS66 full steps example recently sold for $9,750, and coins in MS67 full steps have achieved prices between $37,500 and $46,000 at major auctions. But here's the real kicker. A 1953D in perfect gem condition, graded MS68 full steps is virtually unheard of. Only 1 or 2 examples exist, and if one of them ever appeared for sale today, it could easily command more than $125,000. That's 6 figures for a nickel that cost just 5 cents to make. The reason for this huge leap in price is simple: quality. The Denver Mint that year used overused dies, creating weak strikes and flat steps. Add to that the normal handling, bag marks, and storage issues of the 1950s, and you realize how unbelievably rare it is to find one with strong details and clean, glossy luster. Collectors spend years searching, rolls and mint sets for just one example that meets the full step standard. Even the US mint sets from 1953, which were poorly packaged, often contain hazy, spotted, or dull nickels. A brilliant, untouched piece with deep luster and razor-sharp steps stands out immediately, and that's the one that makes headlines. Now let's talk about some of the interesting varieties and errors you can find in 1953 D nickels. There are minor die cracks across Jefferson's jawline, repunched mint marks, RPMs, and even a few double die reverses, where parts of the lettering look doubled under magnification. These small features can easily add hundreds of dollars to the value. A clean repunched mint mark in MS65 can bring $1,500 while a strong double die example could reach $4,000 or more, depending on condition. When you're inspecting a 1953D Jefferson Nickel, focus on three main areas: the steps on Monticello, the sharpness of Jefferson's cheekbone, and the luster across the fields. Under a strong light, you should be able to see fine, even cartwheel reflections, a sign of an uncirculated coin. If you see all 6 steps sharply defined without breaks or flattening, you might just be looking at a coin worth thousands. So where can people still find these gems today? The best place to start is in old coin jars, family collections, or inherited boxes of coins. Jefferson nickels from the 1940s and 1950s were heavily saved by families who thought they might be special one day. You'd be surprised how many hidden treasures have come out of dusty coffee cans or coin albums that sat forgotten for decades. Another great method is roll hunting. Buy $2 rolls of nickels from your local bank and go through them one by one. It takes patience, but some collectors have pulled stunning 1950s nickels worth hundreds right out of circulation. Coin shows, flea markets, and estate sales are also fantastic places to dig for old nickels. Many casual sellers have no idea what full steps means or how much a pristine coin can be worth. That's your opportunity to spot a gem before anyone else does. If you happen to find a 1953D that looks exceptional, your next step should be certification. Send it to PCGS or NGC for grading. Once that coin is encapsulated with a grade like MS67 FS, it becomes an instantly recognized, high-value collectible that can sell for a premium on the open market. For selling, you've got 2 main options. If it's an average or circulated coin, use eBay or Etsy to reach casual buyers. But if your coin is graded and in high mint state with full steps, go through a professional auction house such as Heritage Auctions, Stack's Bowers, or Great Collections. These platforms attract serious collectors who are willing to pay record-breaking prices for the finest known examples. Before wrapping up, let's talk about the thrill of the hunt. The Jefferson Nickel series is one of the most rewarding for collectors because there are still discoveries to be made. Every once in a while, someone finds a new die variety or a mint-sealed roll with nearly perfect coins, and that can lead to life-changing money. The 1953D Jefferson Nickel may not sound special at first, but it's a reminder that even in the most common places, hidden treasures can still be found. So, the next time you see a dull old nickel with a D on the back and a date of 1953, don't ignore it. Look closer. You might just be holding a piece of history worth $125,000, and who knows, your next big treasure might be sitting right there in your change jar, waiting to be discovered. In 1946, America was finally coming out of World War II. The factories were switching from producing weapons to making peacetime goods again, and the US Mint was back to striking regular coins after 3 years of using silver and nickels. The 1946D Jefferson Nickel marked the first year that the Mint returned to the original copper-nickel composition, and this one small change created one of the most collectible nickels of the post-war era. The Denver Mint produced about 45,892,200 coins in 1946, each bearing the small D mint mark on the reverse to the right of Monticello. At first glance, most 1946D nickels look pretty ordinary. You can still find them in pocket change or old jars, but under the surface, this coin holds some truly rare varieties and potential for serious profit. A regular 1946D Jefferson Nickel in circulated grades is worth about 20 to 50 cents. In uncirculated condition, prices start around $5 to $10, but when you move into gem quality, coins graded MS66 or MS67 with full steps on Monticello, things get intense. A brilliant, fully struck example with full steps designation once sold for over $14,750. And it doesn't stop there. Only a handful of 1946D nickels have ever been certified at MS68. Full steps, the top of the grading scale. One pristine piece sold at auction for an unbelievable $127,500. Yes, over $127,000 for a 5-cent coin. That's a 6-figure treasure hiding inside an ordinary-looking Jefferson nickel. The reason for this massive jump in value is that early post-war coins were often struck with worn dies, so finding one with strong detail and clean steps is nearly impossible. Most coins from 1946 show soft, mushy detail on Jefferson's hair or the steps of Monticello, so collectors are willing to pay premium prices for even a single coin that looks razor sharp. There are also error varieties worth looking for. Some 1946D nickels show die cracks, clipped planchets and off-center strikes, each adding hundreds or even thousands in value depending on severity. A 1946D with a 50% off-center strike, for example, can easily reach $3,500, while a double die obverse can command $6,000 or more. Even smaller anomalies, like die chips in Jefferson's eye or nose, are collected by specialists and can bring up to $500. When examining your 1946D nickel, pay attention to luster, surface marks, and step details. The sharpness of the steps on Monticello is the key to big money. Coins with 5 or 6 fully defined steps get the full steps FS designation from grading. Services like PCGS or NGC, that label alone can multiply your coin's value by 10 or even 100 times. If you suspect your coin might be special, it's always worth getting it graded. PCGS, NGC, and ANAX all authenticate and encapsulate Jefferson nickels, and a certified high-grade 1946D with full steps can instantly turn into a major collector's piece. Now, where can people still find these coins? Start with the obvious. Old change jars and family coin collections. Many 1946D nickels were saved in the 1950s and 1960s by collectors who didn't realize how rare full steps examples would become. You can also search bankrolls or buy unsearched rolls online. Just make sure they're genuine old stock. Estate sales, flea markets, and coin shows are another great source. Dealers often sell mixed lots of Jefferson nickels, and with patience and a magnifier, you can sometimes spot a sharp, high-grade 1946D that everyone else overlooked. Once you find a promising coin, the next question is how to sell it. If it's circulated or lightly worn, online platforms like eBay, Etsy, or whatnot work fine. But for rare high-grade or full steps examples, certification and auctioning through heritage auctions, great collections, or Stack's Bowers is the best way to reach serious collectors. And here's a little bonus tip. Jefferson nickels from the 1940s and 1950s are often found in old US mint sets, and those untouched sets can hide uncirculated gems worth hundreds or thousands today. So the next time you come across a dull old nickel from 1946, don't dismiss it. Look closely. Check for that Denver mint mark. Check the steps on Monticello, and inspect the surfaces under good light, because what might look like a 5-cent coin could actually be worth over $127,500 sitting quietly in your hand.